Hello, boys and girls. It's Mr. Van Damian with you. We're on day 3. We're on week 2. So week 2, day 3. And I know it's confusing, but we're on lesson 3. So we'll do that again. Week 2, day 3, lesson 3. And today, boys and girls, we're just going to do the problem set and exit ticket. So that's going to be our check mark here on our video. And if you look at our playbook skill, remember, you can always have your playbook open to help you. We're doing number forms, and I put a star next to this word expressions. And we're going to deal a lot with expressions. So we're going to turn a lot of these expressions into, if you remember, standard form. So I'm going to turn into my packet. And again, lesson 3, I'm going to make sure I'm on the right one, problem set. Okay? So the first couple ones are super kind of simple here. So it says rewrite the following numbers including commas where appropriate. So you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4. So when we do numbers, remember, starting in our ones place from the right over, this is the ones, tens, hundreds. Then we need to separate that hundreds period and the thousands period with a comma. So my comma is going to come after the 1, and I'm going to say the word thousands. 1,000, and then I'd say the number 234. Okay, so the next one they're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, starting from the right, there's my ones, there's my tens, there's my hundreds, and I need to, after every third number, put that comma. And again, that's every third from the right, not from the left, from the right. So it would be 12, comma, and we say the period that it's in, boys and girls. That's in the thousands. So we'd say 12,000, and then just say the number that comes after, 348. Notice how I don't say and. I didn't say 1,000 and 234. No, 1,234. Because and's going to come in later when we do fractions and decimals toward the end of the year. And is telling us we want another number in math. And we don't. This is all one number. Okay, here they go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So again, my comma starting from the right, 1, tens, hundreds, there's my hundreds, and then this will be my thousands period. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, comma, and I'm going to say the period that it's in, 123,456. Okay, so when we read numbers, we read them in chunks of 3. So that's why these commas are very important. Notice my thousands. 1,000, 12,000, 123,000. Okay? Next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now they're getting really wild on us. Now they're going to have their ones, our tens, and our hundreds. I'm going to separate the 5 and the 4 with a 0. And then I'm going to keep going. Thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. So this is our first time that we're going to be in that very far period towards the end, a million. So we're going to say simply 1,234,567. And again, those commas are there to tell us we have to say the period that it's in. 1,234,567. Notice how I didn't say any ands. Holy, look at this one here. When you guys get tests and quizzes, don't worry. We barely will go into the millions, but this is one that we'll have. So I like this one because it's a challenge. So again, starting from the right to the left, we're going to go every third number. So there's my ones, there's my tens, there's my hundreds. My comma's going to go right there. My thousands, 10,000s, my 100,000s. Now I'm in the millions period. Wow, boys and girls, this is going to be a really large number. There's my millions, my 10 millions, my 100 millions, and yes, I'm in the billions. Woo! So I'm going to copy that number how I have it, 12, and I'm going to say the period that it's in, 12 billion, 345 million, 678, remember now we're back in the thousands, 901, and I'm off the line there because that number is so gigantic. So there you go. Okay, so again, Commas are very important because they help us when we talk about numbers and we read them. It helps us read them much easier. Okay. All right, so now we have our expressions are written over here. Remember our notes the other day? We wrote some expressions. So some of these are going to be quite easy, and some we're going to have to go and push ourselves into the place value. We'll do a little standard form above, and then we'll add them together. So if we have 5 tens, that's simply going to be 50. 50. Okay? 5 tens and 5 tens is going to give me, if you think about it, 10 tens. And if you think about 10 tens, 10 tens gives me, boys and girls, 100. Okay, so starting off pretty easy there. All right. The next one, 300s. So I'm going to write that in standard form. 700s. And that would give me, if they wanted the expression, 10 hundreds. And if you had 10 hundreds, count by 100 with me 10 times. Ready? 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000. That will be 1,000. And again, expression. 10 hundreds is kind of something you've never heard before. 10 tens, you might have heard of 10 tens. But 10 hundreds, that's 1,000. If you had $100 bills and you had 10 of them, you'd have $1,000 bills. $1,000. And then you'd take your teacher out to lunch because, you know, that's a good amount of money you'd have. Okay, so now these next ones get a little tricky for us because they have us having 400 thousands. So that would be 400 thousands plus, 600 thousands. So if we're going to add those together, that's going to be, I almost said 1,000 thousands. 1,000 thousands, and that, boys and girls, will give me 1,000,000. So if you had 1,000, I'm not going to count by 1,000 times, but that would lead me all the way up to my 1,000,000. And if you need to, boys and girls, and if this still confuses you, you just write it off to the side in standard form if you need to when they get to big numbers like this. And you'll see there's my zeros, there's my comma, there's my 10, and then there's my comma. So that's how I came up with 1,000,000. So I did a quick mental math here in my head. 400 and 600 is 1,000. So in my head, 1,000 thousands, 1,000 thousands is 1,000,000. All right. Last one, actually, they go back to kind of being easy for us. I think that last one we just did was the hardest. So we just go 8 plus 4, that's 12 thousands. And 12 thousands is simply 12 thousands. Okay? All right, so the next one, this looks really difficult, but it's quite easy, boys and girls. So we're going to actually look at this, represent each add-in with number disk and the place value. Show the composition of larger units from the 10 smaller units. Write the sum in standard form. So I'm going to make this easier for you. We're going to think of our 4,000s as this in standard form. And then 1,100s, that's difficult for us because 1,100s actually would be regrouped. So we're going to do that over here. So we're going to put little discs. And for me, boys and girls, I like to just put dots because dots are a lot faster here. So I'm going to put 11 in the hundreds place. This one's easy because I'm going to just have 4 in the thousands. So here we go. My hundreds, I'm going to put 11 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And notice how I did 5 on top of 5, and I'm going to throw my 1 more for 11. Because when you get a group of 10, we know we need to regroup this. So we're going to circle this whole chunk here, and we're going to move it over with a line. And then we're obviously going to add our 4,000s from earlier. 2, 3, 4. So 1,100s is a difficult thing for you guys to visualize. 1,100s would look like this. If you needed to multiply it, 11 100s, 11 times 1 is an 11, and then 2 zeros is 1,100. Would actually end up what we got. There's my 1,100. All right? So then we'd have to figure it out. We'd add our 1,100 to 4,000, so that would be, there's my 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'd only have 1 here. I don't count this group of 10 because I regrouped it as 1,000. So my answer is simply 5,100. Okay, Now, the hardest part was this one here, taking your 11 and having to bundle this group of 10 and moving it over to the thousands, okay? So this is, remember in our notes in class, we talked about how if you get an expression that has a higher digit than 10, you're gonna have to kind of do a little maybe mental math, or if you need to show work like this to figure out, okay, I don't know what 11 hundreds is. That's a silly way of saying a number. I don't know what 11 hundreds is. So in your head, if I had 11 $100 bills, I'd have $1,100. Okay, so the next one. Now we're getting to really big ones. 24 10,000. So there's my 10,000s place, and yes, I'm gonna put 24 dots on there. We only put 11 up here, so there's gonna be a lot more dots down here, and I have 11,000s. So we're gonna go ahead and put them in standard form first. This one is much more difficult, and it's okay, boys and girls, if you don't get this. These won't be on tests just yet, but this is just a simple way of your expression. So we want to make this number into standard form, okay? So my easiest trick for you, instead of doing this whole chart, would be you take 24 times 10,000s, because that's what they want. I want to know if I had $10,000, it's a lot of money, and you had that 24 times, you're going to have a lot of money. So let's go ahead. 24 times 1 is 24. And count our zeros. Whoops, I shouldn't put my comma in too early. Let's count our zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 240,000. Okay? So let's see how that regroups in this place value. So we're going to go 24, and again, I'm going to group them into fives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know that, so I can then bundle this one, because that's 10. There's my another 5. So there's 20, and I need 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, and those went over to the 100,000s place. So if you remember, my answer was 2 in the 100,000s. There's my 100,000s. 4 in the 10,000s, 240,000. Okay? Now we do the same thing for this number. This one's a little easier. Still the expression though is not fun. So we have 11 thousands. So if I had 11 thousands, it would be, it kind of says it for us when it does the 1,000 sometimes, it'd be 11,000. So that does not mean that I could put 11,000s in here, because if you notice, I'm in the 10,000s place. So let's go ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then one more. And I'm going to bundle this group, and I'm going to have it join these group of 4 down here. So when I'm done adding these all up, it's going to give me 251,000. So let's see how that looks like. And let's do that off to the side here in standard form. 240,000 plus 11,000. 0, 0, 0, 1, 5. There it is. 251,000. Okay? All right, flip it over to your exit ticket. All right, so now we have in the space provided, rewrite the following units as digits. Be sure to place the commas where appropriate. So again, we're gonna go ahead and write this as digits, meaning as our numbers. So we have 9,000, 300s, and 1s. And I like to sometimes, boys and girls, just go like this, because you might have zeros in there. I have 9 in the thousands place. There's my 9. There's my 3 in the hundreds. And then I have 4 1s. So what are we missing? They didn't have anything in the 10s. That doesn't mean that I can just put my number as 934. That would just be 934. 9,304. So this is what we call, if you remember in class, we call this a placeholder. You do need to put that 0 in there. Otherwise, it changes your value. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. So now I'm going into the 10,000s in my highest. So I go 10,000s, thousands, comma, hundreds, tens, ones. All right, so they want a 6 in the 10,000s place. There's my 6. They want a 2 in the thousands place. They want a 7 in the hundreds place. They want an 8 in the tens, and then they want a 9 in the ones. Boom, there's my number. 62,789. And be sure to place commas where appropriate. Remember, every third number separates our periods. Okay? Again, every third number from the right, though. Next one, 100,000. So let's go ahead of that one. 100,000, 10,000, thousands, comma, hundreds, tens, ones. So they want a 1 in the 100,000s. They want an 8 in the thousands. So it looks like they're skipping the 10,000s on us. So that means I'm going to have to put that 0 there when I'm all done. 9 in the hundreds, 5 in the tens, and then 3 in the ones, and then there's my 0. It's giving me 108,953. Okay? All right, last question here, and then you guys are going to have, for your assignment, you don't have to take a picture of this. You're just going to bring the packet in, and I'm going to look at these. You're just going to have the homework section, which is just this one page here, guys. And look at, it's very similar to what we did, writing the expression. The only difference here is this unit form, where you're using the largest possible units. We did that. We just did it, whoops, right here. So notice how our problem set only had 2 categories, whereas your homework, you have what? 3 categories. So I'll do the first one with you, and then you guys can figure out the standard form. Just go 6 plus 4 is 10, tens. Okay, and then the same thing. You're gonna add 8 plus 2, boom, hundreds. 5 plus 7, boom, thousands, and then write that in standard form. So it just looks a little different. All right, let's go back to that very last question. A little bit more practice with the expressions. 26,000. So there's my thousands place. I'm going to put in 26 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Well, I'm going to count that again because it's my 10. So I have 10. There's 20, and then 6 more. So there's 1, 2, and then there's my 6 more. So those are going to be grouped into my 10,000s. And then I need 1,300. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to regroup that, and I'm going to draw my arrow down so I don't forget that in my number. So it would be 2 in the 10,000s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 in the thousands place, and then 3 in my hundreds. So my answer is, how many thousands are in your answer? You can't just say 7, but there's 27,000.